Coming up on today's show, is this Speedway's next superstar?
What do you get when you combine football, volleyball and table tennis? It's Techball.
Triathlon action from one of the world's toughest races, the Roth Ironman.
And we look back on the incredible career of the Duke of Dive. Great Britain's Robert Lambert is a rising star in the world of Speedway. Aged just 21, the young rider has already been crowned British and European junior champion. Now competing at the highest level of his sport, the Speedway Grand Prix, Lambert has quickly shown his ability to not only compete, but win on the international stage.
Magnificent, the youngster, in for Greg Hancock, of course. The talented youngster from Norfolk in Great Britain, Robert Lambert, has the early advantage now and holding the inside run.
Will be delighted with this. He was balloted #1, and it's proving to be a very useful starting position for him in the opening race. Lambert looking good.
Yeah, looking to qualify for next year's series. He'll be at Glasgow next Saturday in a Grand Prix qualifier. Well, I'll tell you what, he looks a real deal in the Grand Prix right now. 8 points in Warsaw a fortnight ago, got into the semi-finals, and Lambert has started with a win here in Kershko ahead of the reigning champion Ty Woffenden. The superstar from Gate 1, this boy is going places.
It was here on the Lambert family farm in Norfolk that Robert first got to grips with a Speedway bike.
I jumped on a bike when I was 3 years old, so I was pretty much, as soon as I could walk, I was on the bike, and yeah, it was more like a hobby and something to do for fun. But then once I started going to Germany and starting to race professionally and start getting paid for it, then I sort of realised, well, I could have a career out of it.
It was this decision to move to Germany that allowed Lambert to race professionally at the age of just 14.
I took out a German licence and started to race over there at professional level before I could in the UK. So I think that gave me a few more steps ahead of everyone else, and which sort of spurred me on a bit earlier than I could have over in the UK. So definitely a massive help, and you know, I thank all the people out there who helped me, and I still keep some loyalties there.
Under the watchful eye of his dad, Paul Lambert, Robert now has his eyes firmly fixed on a career at the highest level of competitive speedway.
Obviously, his goal is to be, you know, world champion, you know, and things are progressing, and we all hope that he will do that, you know, but that's not easy. There's a lot of hard work ahead. I mean, with the European Championships last year, it was a big stepping stone, you know, to finish where he finished, and like, I don't think a lot of people thought that he would do as well in that. You know, he's now gone up another step in the Polish league, you know, so we hope that goes well. And obviously he's first reserve for the Grand Prix, so, you know, knock on wood that he will get 1 or 2 Grand Prix. It's been a big learning curve, you know, from a young age, and like, you know, hopefully he'll continue to do that as being British champion, you know, and move on from there.
Despite the pressures of the competitive world of professional speedway, Lambert still manages to find time to give his parents a helping hand on the family farm. The work offers a welcome reprieve from the stresses of success at such a young age.
They obviously don't want it.
He's worked on the farm with me from a young age, you know. He was here with me dad and sort of sitting on his knee on the tractor and what have you, driving around with the hay turner, and yeah, so he works hard in general.
Last year when I was really busy, and if I had sort of some bad meetings or even good meetings, you know, I was coming back here, and you know, if I had a day off, and you know, working on a farm is obviously doing a lot of work on the fields with hay and stuff like this, and yeah, I was just obviously when you're driving a tractor, you're thinking about other things apart from speedway, and a lot of the time you need to get away from it, you know, when there's so much media stuff and a lot of people sort of saying things to you, and you need to just get your clear head, and that's where it's good, you know. I can come back here and do obviously things that I love since I was a child, and try and get away and clear my head, and then I'm ready to race again.
Out on the track, Lambert is the captain of his hometown club, the Kings Lynn Stars. The British League features riders from all over the world, offering youngsters like Lambert the chance to race against the best of the best. Jason Doyle is the 2017 Speedway World Champion and a close friend of the young rider from Norfolk.
I rode with Rob in Sweden for the last 2 seasons, and he's a really good speedway rider, and he's a talented young boy. What hopefully how he's going at the moment, he's going to only have years to come to be good, and hopefully I can still beat him while I'm at that level. But I know he's got another 20 years left in him where he's going to be one of the top boys, and it's good for British Speedway. He's very level-headed. He's got some good parents behind him what back him all the way, and he's just a normal kid. Hopefully he doesn't change in the years to come. There's a lot of pressure on these young British boys to go well. It's always easy to have one good season, but to match 2 and 3 seasons of consistency, it's hard to do at that age. So he's only 21 years old, and he's got a lot of years ahead of him, but he's a top boy.
Despite his early success, Lambert has struggled with injury and poor form throughout the 2019 season, an experience he's hoping to learn from in the years to come.
It's never good to have a season like this, and you know, it's been tough, you know, physically and mentally, you know, to process everything. But I think in this kind of career, you need some step backs to be able to come forward stronger.
And with the new season fast approaching, Lambert is determined to make a lasting mark on the sport he loves.
Obviously, a key goal is world champion, isn't it? It's something I think every rider should be aiming for, and if they're not, they may as well stop racing.
My disability is spinal muscular atrophy. I have a lack of a protein, which causes a disease on my muscles, so they are wasted. So I can move everything, but I have very, very limited strength. So I don't have even the strength to touch my face at this moment. So I need help in almost every movement in my daily life. Boccia is similar to bowls or petanque, and it is for athletes, that do not have a lot of strength, so their movement is very limited. And for example, in my category, the athletes cannot throw the ball with their arm or their foot, so we use special equipment to propel the ball into the playing area. When I heard about Boccia, it was just some years before Athens 2004 Paralympic Games, and it was like a dream. I had a dream to participate in the games, but I also wanted to win the games. From the beginning, I didn't see Boccia as a hobby. I saw it as a career opportunity, and after my first success, I wanted to do even better. So I worked hard. I still am working very hard because I enjoy being on the top, and that's my greatest motivation. In my category, we have a sport assistant. That sport assistant is always with us. I cannot train without my sport assistant. I cannot compete without my sport assistant. I cannot do anything without my sport assistant.
I'm Katarina, and I'm Grigorios Polychronidis' sport assistant, who is actually my husband. I was in Switzerland doing my master degree in 2012. Grigorios had won the gold Paralympic medal in Paralympic Games in London. So it was the only gold medal for Greece, for Olympic Games and for Paralympic Games. So it was very important. It was a big success here. And I sent him a text message to congratulate him. So since then, we started a conversation, and when I visited my country, I had a meeting with him.
For me, it was love from first sight. So after, I think, 2 months, we were already living together. She is my inspiration, and I always share everything with Katarina. We're like one, you know, so we're like a unity. Katarina supports me in every field.
He's a leader, and I enjoy this a lot. I like it, and I really admire his character and his career and his emotions for everything, for me, for his sport, for life. He doesn't want to be a loser.
We both love being with the person we love. It's like enjoying what you already need. So we enjoy sharing 24 hours a day together. So Katarina helps me during the day, Katarina helps me in training, we compete together. Katarina even helps me during the night because I cannot turn in the bed. So Katarina is everything for me now. And it's funny because when Katarina is in another room or something like that, we cannot sit for a long time. So we start shouting, "Where are you? I'm missing you." We started playing in 2015, and in our first competition, we won the gold medal in the World Open. So we said, that's good, we're going well.
I love sports from the very beginning of my life, so I really wanted to be involved in something like this. This is what I was missing. I mean, to compete like an athlete, as an athlete in major sport events.
She's very strict for the training hours, so if you are 5 minutes late, Katarina says, "Oh, you're 5 minutes late. You must not be so late. What's happening with you?" and that kind of stuff. So, and I'm saying, "Okay, relax. Don't worry. It's 5 minutes. It's okay." So we're fighting and then we're laughing almost every day.
We communicate a lot during the whole day in training, but we can't communicate during the game in competitions. So I only execute his instructions during the game. It's very important that I know him very well and he knows me very well. Sometimes during the game he maybe tells me a maybe wrong instruction because he's thinking about tactics for his next step in the game. But I know what he wants to say because we train many hours together, because I know him, so I'm doing the correct thing.
Tokyo is our primary goal. We have something less than a year. We have worked a lot, but the sport is so competitive that we need to work even harder this year. What is a dream of me, Katarina, and the rest of my family is because of a medicine that has been created just a few years ago, and it's the first treatment ever for my disability. So we are dreaming maybe someday I will not be eligible to play in Boccia. So we are hoping and we are praying so that this will be the reason that I will stop playing Boccia, that I will not be eligible. When I was just a child, I had some nightmares of what am I going to do in my life. It will be a disaster. I cannot move my arms, I cannot move my legs, so how will I live? But then at the same time, I said no, because I can study, I can choose a profession where I will be good at, so I will be making money, and I will have some persons that will help me, assist me in everything I need, and I will have a normal life. And that's how it happened. So if you are positive, and if you plan your life, and you don't expect everything to happen on its own, because it won't. You have to work, you have to try, and then you will have the success in any field that you are working on.
Now it's time for this week's question. Last month, Brazilian surfer Italo Ferreira won the men's Rip Curl Pro Portugal, the penultimate stop on the 2019 World Surf League's Championship Tour. Ferreira came into the event as the defending champion, and this massive backhand full rotation in the quarterfinals showed he was in no mood to relinquish his title. The high-flying Brazilian went on to score a perfect 10 on his first wave in the final, which was more than enough to beat South Africa's Jordy Smith to the title. Ferreira now leads the men's standings heading into next month's season finale in Hawaii as he chases his first ever World Championship crown. For this week's question, though, we'd like to know which legendary surfer has won the most world titles. We'll bring you the answer later in the show.
A combination of soccer, volleyball and table tennis, Techball is a new sport that's taking the world by storm. Invented in Hungary 5 years ago, it's already developed a cult following on Instagram, with the likes of Ronaldinho and Justin Bieber giving the game a go. The International Techball Federation formed in 2017, and Marius Weiser is the man in charge of taking the sport global.
Anytime, anywhere. You don't need a big surface, you just need a table and 2 or 4 players, and basically you can start from the age of 8. We recommend to play Techball until you can practice board.
Techball is played on a curved table with a size 5 football.
Basically, we play Techball in singles and doubles as well. In singles, you have 3 touches per person, per player, but in doubles you have 3 touches per team. So these are the 3 touches that you need to, use the most efficiently as possible.
Another rule is the ball has to touch a different body part every time. In an effort to increase the game's popularity, Techball recently featured as a demonstration event at the World Urban Games in Budapest.
So we have invited the world best Techball players just here to play a demonstration match, to catch everybody's eyes and just to promote the sport itself.
Next year, Techball will make its debut as an official medal sport at the Asian Beach Games in China. It's a big kick in the right direction for the Techball inventors who dream of it one day becoming an Olympic sport.
For triathlon enthusiasts, a pilgrimage to Rath in Germany is a must. The Bavarian town is home to one of the world's most famous Ironman races. Now in its 32nd year, Challenge Rath has grown from 700 entrants in its first edition to over 3,000 triathletes from 18 nations lining up in this year's race. Over 200,000 spectators attend the race, which features a 3.8-kilometre swim, a 180-kilometre cycle ride and a marathon to finish. Ironman triathlons are among the most grueling sporting challenges, with elite athletes aiming to break the 8-hour barrier. Among those looking to add their name to the distinguished list of winners were Belgium's Bart Aeronauts, runner-up at the last Ironman World Championship, as well as Great Britain's Lucy Charles-Barclay, who finished second at the 2018 Challenge Rath. Damp conditions greeted the 2019 entrants as they made their final preparations ahead of the 6:30 a.m. start time. Competitors started the day with a 3.8-kilometre swim in the main Donau Canal. With a water temperature of 24 degrees, it's a non-wetsuit race for the pros. In the men's race, Jesper Svensson took an early lead, with former Olympic swimmer Andy Potts leading the main group, chasing the Swede. As expected, Lucy Charles-Barclay was the strongest of the female swimmers, immediately putting clear water between herself and her rivals. Svensson emerged first from the water with a time of 48 minutes and 27 seconds, giving him a 2-minute lead over the chasing group. In the women's race, Charles-Barclay clocked a time of 49 minutes and 1 second to start the cycle over 3 minutes ahead of Anja Ipak in second place. The second leg of Challenge Rath is 2 laps of a 90-kilometre bike course, featuring 3 climbs with gradients of up to 10%. Men's race leader Svensson rode alone for over an hour and a half before he was eventually caught by Andreas Dreitz, Andy Potts and Andy Boscherer. In the women's race, Lucy Charles-Barclay extended her lead over the chasing pair of Daniela Bleimel from Germany and Australia's Sarah Crowley. After initially holding onto the lead group, Jonas Svensson lost touch with the leaders during the cycle stage. Potts was also dropped to leave the German pair of Dreitz and Boscherer out in front, heading into the run. After 4 hours and 39 minutes on the bike, Lucy Charles-Barclay entered the final transition stage with a lead of almost 6 minutes over Danielle Bleimel in second place. The third and final stage was a marathon starting along the banks of the main Donau Canal, before heading into the centre of Rath. Andy Boscherer initially took up the pace at the front of the men's race, but soon fell behind his compatriot Andreas Dreitz. Lucy Charles-Barclay continued to lead the way as she looked to go one better than last year's runner-up finish. Australia's Sarah Crowley emerged as her closest rival, but the gap already looked insurmountable. Andreas Dreitz stretched his lead in the men's race, and cheered on by the home crowds, the German crossed the line just inside the 8-hour barrier, finishing 3 minutes and 18 seconds ahead of Jonas Svensson in second place. Australia's Cameron Worth rounded off the men's podium. In the women's race, Lucy Charles-Barclay completed a dominant wire-to-wire victory, setting a new personal best of 8 hours, 31 minutes and 9 seconds. She finished 7 minutes ahead of Sarah Crowley in second place to firmly cement her position as one of the world's best Ironman triathletes. And the RAF Ironman is the inspiration for this week's Top 5, the world's toughest races.
First up is the world's most prestigious cross-country skiing race, the Vasaloppet. A 90-kilometre trek through the snowy forests of the Swedish mainland, the race attracts around 15,000 competitors every year, many of whom see it more as a test of courage than a sporting event.
The Kraken Cup is one of the most extreme sailing races you'll come across.
Go!
Held on the east coast of Africa, competitors race for over 180 miles across islands in the Indian Ocean, using boats made from hollowed-out mango trees and a bit of rope.
The Antarctic Ice Marathon takes place in the coldest, windiest and driest place on Earth. Every year, athletes travel to Union Glacier, some 600 miles from the South Pole, to run or walk 26 miles in one of the world's most extreme tests of endurance.
Next up is the famous Iditarod. Every March, Alaska's frozen wilderness plays host to sled dog racing's most grueling event. In temperatures often below minus 50 degrees, mushers race their teams of dogs across almost 1,000 miles of snow and ice.
And at number 1, the Marathon des Sables. Over 6 days, athletes travel 230 kilometres across the Sahara Desert, carrying all their own food and equipment. With participants running in sand in 50-degree heat, it's certainly deserving of its reputation as the toughest foot race on Earth.
The port city of Ximen is known as the gateway to China. And for the first time, it welcomed the Powerboat World Championship to its waters for round 4 of the 2019 season. With 18 powerboats racing at speeds of over 140 miles an hour, there was plenty to excite the local fans. The event saw the Grand Prix of Ximen and the Grand Prix of China taking place on the same course over consecutive days, making it the biggest weekend of the F1 H2O season. Sean Torrent went into the event leading the world standings, with a chance of sealing the title over the weekend.
So position where you are in the championship, is a huge deal now. It's a big difference from when I started racing here. When I started racing here, it was hair on fire, let's get to the front and win the race. That's all I care about. I don't even care about anything else. So nowadays, it's about winning the championship, it's not about winning races. I got plenty of race wins, I got plenty of poles. I only got one world championship and I want more. So I'm in a good position leading, so they gotta come get me.
Qualifying is run over 3 sessions, with the field of 18 first reduced to 12 and then down to 6. The huge surprise in Ximen was that standings leader Torrent failed to reach the final qualifying session. With the World Championship frontrunner and reigning champion out, the fight for pole position was wide open. Alex Carella was the third racer out onto the course, the 2017 world champion setting the pace with a lap of 52.26 seconds. Philippe Chiappe, racing for the Shenzhen China team, had the support of the home fans, but a huge crash put paid to his chances. Despite flipping his boat, thankfully the Frenchman came away from the accident completely unharmed.
First lap I make a mistake, the boat fly and I lose time. I'm very close to Alex and I push on maximum on the second lap, but I think too much and the boat I lose the control. I hear the engine and it's very quickly, you have no time for just, and okay, I'm okay. Dry and it's perfect.
Pole position went to Alex Carella, the 16th of his career and first since 2017. Championship leader Sean Torrent would start in 9th, giving his closest rivals Jonas Andersson and Marit Stromoy a chance to make ground on him in the title race. A false alarm from Peter Morin meant he'd face a penalty at the end of the race. The rest of the field got away cleanly as they raced towards the first buoy. Sami Celio started from 5th on the grid, but it wasn't long before he dropped back 2 places. Up front, Carella passed Morin, who held the lead thanks to his false start, and began putting clear water between himself and the field. Championship leader Torrent was making up ground following his disappointing qualifying. He overtook Chiap to move into 5th place. Torrent's Abu Dhabi teammate Tani Al-Kemzi was also on the charge. He made a move on the inside of Torrent and managed to hold the position. Unfortunately, that was as good as it got for Al-Kemzi, as he lost power and had to head back to the pontoon with engine failure. At the halfway stage, Carella continued to lead from Morin, whose false start penalty meant Andersson was effectively in 2nd place. Chiap had been running in 4th place before he suffered his own engine problems and had to retire. Celio's race also finished early, as his disappointing season continues. The retirements were good news for Torrent, who managed to finish in 4th place. Whilst Carella was well out in front, the battle for 2nd saw Jonas Andersson managing to hold off Norway's Marit Stromoy in 3rd. Carella would cross the finish line 34 seconds ahead of Andersson to claim his first Grand Prix win in 2 years. The result moves him up to 5th in the World Championship, whilst Andersson overtakes Torrent at the top of the standings. Stromoy remains in 3rd.
I had a good start, good pull-off from the dock. Finally, we found that problem. And I'm super happy to be on the podium. I tried a little bit to push Jonas, but not too much, because I didn't want to lose to the guys pushing from behind.
It's fantastic. We are a small team and we have been working really, really hard, and now we are leading the championship, and I'm really happy, and all the people that help me here and home, the people they know who they are. It's fantastic that we can do this by so little people.
It was difficult this morning qualifying. After in the race I had Peter Morin behind me, but he made a jump start, so I know that he was 1 lap behind, but okay, I want to finish. After a long time I didn't want to leave him go, and I just want to keep pushing and finish first this race. And all my team deserve this. They work 1 month like crazy, straight there they working like crazy with what we have, and so it's unbelievable.
And we'll have highlights from the final 2 races of the 2019 World Championship.
Now for the answer to this week's sporting question. Earlier in the show, we asked who has won the most surfing world titles. The answer is Kelly Slater. The American dominated the sport after joining the World Tour in 1990, winning 11 world titles over the course of his career. So impressive is his longevity in the sport that Slater holds the record for being both the youngest and oldest world champion on the men's tour. Even at the age of 47, Slater is hoping to represent the US at next year's Tokyo Olympics, where the sport will make its debut at the Games. Author, actor, environmental activist, and innovator, he's also one of the greatest professional surfers of all time.
Cliff diving is one of the world's most exhilarating extreme sports. One that combines physical and mental strength with a fearless sense of showmanship. Orlando Duque is the world's most famous cliff diver. A 10-time world champion, the 45-year-old Colombian has spent his career performing incredible feats all over the world, becoming a true icon of the high dive. Last month, the man who, for many, personifies the sport, made his final competitive appearance at the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series season finale in Bilbao, Spain. After 20 years of the high dive, helping to turn this breathtaking discipline into a world-renowned sport and filling the record books with perfect dives and unparalleled achievements, the Duke has left the competitive stage. Duque has long been regarded as the face of cliff diving. The long-haired Colombian is one of the most likeable and distinctive divers on the tour, as well as the most successful. We crossed paths with Orlando a few times during his career, most recently at a Red Bull cliff diving event in Italy on the shores of Lake Garda. The Duke of Dive himself gave us a special insight into what goes on behind the scenes at one of the world's most spectacular sporting events.
So just let me give you a little tour of, this is the backstage area. The platform is right there, so this normally will be off limits for the cameras, but I'm gonna give you a little tour, show you what happens here, what the divers go through as they're preparing for their dive. So just come follow me. So when the divers need to get a little bit away from everybody, they need to concentrate on their dives, get focused to perform just a secluded area where nobody's gonna bother you. They have enough space to pretty much relax, do their warm-ups, prepare their dives. Yeah, the divers need to get away from anything that's going on down there. They need time to focus or warm up or something. This is the area just for us. Normally we have a physiotherapist. I think she's set up on that room. If you need a massage or if you're having any kind of problems, she can take care of that. Little areas, you can see Mikhail, he's just stretching a little bit. He's still doing his training part and just to kind of get away. We have a little bit of TV, there's some videos playing normally. I think it's a Nintendo Wii. You try to keep your mind off diving as much as possible. If not, the tension is too much. So, this is our place.
Although the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series features the most talented high divers on the planet, even these guys get nervous when leaping from 27 meters.
Look at his knees. See the legs shaking? I don't know what is harder, to watch or to do it yourself. Right? Yeah. When you're standing there, you're freaking out, but watching too? Yeah. Too much tension. These kids are gonna kill me. You know, I'm too old for this. Nice. Easy. So this is it, 27 meters high. This is the place where the competition takes place. It looks much higher from down here than what it looks from down there, but you know, this is what we like. This is what makes our, you know, blood pump a little bit. At this moment before you're doing your dive, you're just visualizing everything. You know, you're running through every step of the dive in your mind. You want to make sure that you're not missing anything. You know, there's certain things that have to happen in the dive to be safe, to be successful. So you're just doing that run through in your head to make sure that when you step to the edge, you're ready to go. Even after so many years, I still feel a little bit of fear. Like right now, I don't like to come on the platform knowing that I'm not gonna dive because it's a bit of a strange feeling. But I think it's just a natural reaction, you know. Your brain is gonna tell your body, you know, this is pretty high, you're gonna get hurt. The thing is, we know that we prepare ourselves to do it, and we manage to get over that and still perform a dive, but I think it's just a natural thing that's just gonna stay there. The best part of the dive is actually when everything goes okay and you're on the water. Everything that you felt before while standing here on the platform, that you're nervous, that you're scared, all that fear, it just immediately transfers into this rush of like happiness, you know, just so excited that you just did this thing. The sound when you enter the water is just loud. Underwater is it's just a mess, you know, your body just goes any which way. But you know, you're just so pumped out that when you come out of the water, it's just like, whoa, you look at the scores, you get good scores from the judges, and it's just a lot of fun. I mean, doing a good dive, I mean, you can ask any of the guys, it's just the most fun thing, man. You can't compare it to nothing else. Ah, nice. Nice. Now, that's the nice thing about the lake over here. The people is really into sports. They do all kinds of things, and even a little bit of diving. Cool.
Originally hailing from Cali in Colombia, for the past 25 years, Orlando's home has been the picturesque island of Oahu in Hawaii.
The great thing about Hawaii, you know, the weather, really stable. You know, we have sunny days, a good, nice temperature. You know, it's good for me for training. I do my training at the pool, but you know, good weather, it kind of keeps you a little bit motivated, you know. It's a good place to be, and I'm far away from everything, so when I'm at home, I'm just like focusing on my preparation.
Hawaii is believed to be the birthplace of the sport, its spectacular coastlines having been used for cliff jumping for hundreds of years.
It's a very nice history because one of the kings actually used to jump from cliffs. King Kaikili and his warriors who follow him, you know, they'll show their bravery, their strength, their loyalty, and they follow him, you know. He challenged them, he did the jumps himself, and you know, the strong people will do it. So it's really nice, you know, for me to be living there and kind of continuing on that tradition. I mean, it's really cool. I like it.
As with most professional sports, Orlando has had to invest a lot of time and effort to stay at the top. Each new dive attempt involves careful planning, both on the cliff and, more importantly, at the landing site, the water.
First thing I do when I get to a new place, jump in the water. You know, you look around, and yeah, there are some rocks where you can maybe jump from. Next thing, I mean, you have to get in the water and check. You find the landing area, make sure it's deep enough, there is nothing around, there's no ledges, there's nothing. You know, you need a clear spot where you can land safely. Then the next thing, you just climb up to the top. You know, if there's a safe way up, then you're just gonna walk on the road or something. If not, maybe an easy climb and find your spot where you're diving from. Once you're there, it's just measuring if you have a chance, and try not to go too high if you cannot measure, because height is very deceiving. So sometimes you go from a place thinking it's 15 meters and end up being 25 meters or something. So, you know, there's certain rules that we follow to make sure that we're gonna be safe. Than I thought. Yeah, I went a little sideways at the bottom, but it a little bit scary because, you know, you don't know exactly how high it is, how deep it is, but it was fun at the end. It was good.
There's no doubt that one thrill-seeking activity leads to another for Orlando, whether it be leaping off a cliff or jumping out of an aeroplane. However, such is the intensity of the high dive that Orlando has always found time for relaxation away from his sport, particularly in the beautiful waters of Hawaii.
Diving it's a lot of fun, but it's too fast, you know? It's just, everything happens so fast and it's really intense. When you're in the water, everything is at a different pace, yeah? Your body's surfing and you're just kind of swimming around, waiting for waves, and then you catch a couple of waves and you back out and you're relaxing a little bit. So it's a nice combination. Even for myself sometimes, my sport is so intense that sometimes you just gotta step back and just sit at home and read a book, watch a movie, you know, because you cannot be on that edge constantly, you know. It becomes too much and eventually you're gonna start making mistakes, which is not gonna be good for you.
An icon, legend and pioneer, Orlando Duque has spent his career accomplishing incredible feats, achieving unrivaled success and helping to inspire a generation of cliff divers.
Once you signal to the judges that you're ready, it's all business. I forget that there's anybody around. But then once I'm in the air, when I know exactly what I'm doing, I like to feel that I'm in control and I'm moving my body and I'm doing all these things. And then underwater, after 3 seconds or less than 3 seconds, it's just like, wow.
Doing a good dive is just the most fun thing, man. You can't compare it to nothing else.